Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube you know me as Epic Fantasy, and this is my latest tutorial. This is a tips and tools video. I haven't done one in a long time, but I do have a lot of tips and tools videos on a variety of subjects. You might want to check out the playlist for that. But this is about alcohol markers. I actually had never used them before, heard about them, but never got around to using them. And I love them. They're wonderful. Just show you real quick. I'm working on Merrymead Castle, and I started coloring it with pencils. So you can see that. And pencils vary a lot. Colored pencils. So I said, you know, I want color that pops. So I switched to alcohol markers, and look how that color pops. Look at that. Isn't that something? Little stained glass windows. So all right, let's do the introduction, and then we'll get into a little bit about alcohol markers, what they are, how to use them, how to take care of them. Dioramas, origami, catapults, and trebuchets, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something. All right, so let's take a look at some alcohol pen stuff. First off, before I talk about the alcohol pens themselves, I want to talk about paper. Here is alcohol pens bleed through paper. This is 90-pound cardstock. I use it often for castle building, paper castles, and watch this. It bleeds through, see? Can you see that? And depending on how thick you put it, it'll bleed through more. So I also have 100-pound paper, right, which is thicker and more durable. Let's give that a try. And it still bleeds through a little bit. And if the more you apply, the worse it'll get. So that's something to consider. Be conscious of the paper you're using, and you might want to test to make sure the bleed through either isn't happening or it isn't that important to you. Or you can go very lightly. That will help some. Let's try a thin line here on the 100-pound cardstock, right? Can't barely, you can kind of, so it didn't bleed through. So consider that. They make special paper for alcohol markers. You can look that up. Guess it doesn't matter. Alright, so let's take a look at the alcohol pens themselves. So they come in different shapes, oblong, square, rectangular. These are triangular, which I like. They have a good feel to them. And I'm pretty sure all alcohol pens have two tips. Right, you pull the cap off, got one tip, and then the other tip. And they usually have something called a chisel tip or a broad tip. Right? Most of them, I think, have that. So you can lay in an even color like this. And the other end is either a fine tip or a brush tip usually, but they actually make a lot of different types of tips. And you can buy refills for these where you refill them with colors. Now, this is important, is the numbers. Every color has a number. And there are also families, like this one's 64 Indian blue. But they also come in families of numbers, so you can blend within family ranges. Let's take a look here, and they'll be signified correctly. Like for instance, there's a CG1, a CG3, and a CG7. Cool gray 1, 3, and 7. There's also a 2, there's also a 5 and a 6. There's probably an 8 and a 9. Don't know, but here's another one. Take a look. Here's a blue-gray 1 and a blue-gray 5. So you get to know those numbers and use them, because it'll make a big difference. But there are two things about alcohol pens I really love. Oh, one more thing. Always snap the cap. Hear that? Make sure the cap is snapped on tight, or the alcohol pen will dry out on you. So you be careful of that. Take care of them. So let's take a look. The big thing about alcohol pens is blending. Well, the big thing for me is the beautiful color. Just this rich, beautiful color. But the blending is a very big thing for alcohol pens. So we're going to do some blending. We're going to take a BG1 and a BG5. And this is typically how people blend. You lay in your lighter color first. I'm using the fine tip just to get the detail. And then you, lay in your lighter color first. BG1 and BG5. Then you lay in your darker color. And then you can use the lighter color pen to pull that darker color. Let me pull it out. And you'll get a shading effect. See it? See how that's working? This isn't the lighter color, it's a combination of the two. You pull it out. So that's the big deal about, that's the biggest deal people make when it comes to alcohol markers. The shading and being able to blend colors. They also make a blender tip, which is a marker that has no color, and it is used specifically for blending. It has the alcohol in it. I'm gonna do a little bit here. This will give us a little bit of shape. So there we go. You can see this one here, the blending is pretty obvious on that previous one that I did. Add some more in without blending. One more thing I want to say about alcohol pens is, let's say you have it kind of rough and streaky. Alright, it's kind of streaky. You can go over that and straighten it out, clean it up, and it'll get rid of the streaks, although it takes a little bit of practice till the paper, the color is saturated. But then you can get a nice smooth color. See, this one's a little streaky. Let's see if we can fix that one. There we go. Pretty nice. Almost perfect. See? There's a little bit here. But you know, alcohol pens are wonderful. They're just a beautiful, rich colors. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Let me use a few more. So, blending, different tips. Always be conscious of the numbers because you're going to want to know those numbers. All right? Always snap the cap on nice and tight. And there's hundreds of colors. And you can buy this one. See this one? I've been using this one a lot. You can fix that tip. You can buy new tips. You can expect to pay $1 to $2 per alcohol pen, although they do get more expensive than that. They get much more expensive than that. You can pay $5 or $6 for high quality name brands. I got this kit. They were just a little over 50 cents a pen. I love that. Just nice. That's the shuttle art, and they're pretty good. I would imagine they're not the highest quality, but they work for what I want to do. I'm just making paper castles, right? And I want some color. So that's it. Alcohol pens, they're really wonderful. They're really worth. There, can you do that? Watch this. See, and then you do that. That's like a magician's prestidigitator trick. You put it there, then you put it there. Okay, thank you. Listen, if you like my stuff, I could use your help on Patreon. So, oh, and by the way, when I bought this kit, like for a little, I think it was a little over, like I said, a little over 50 cents a marker, or an alcohol marker. It also came with a nice case, which is excellent. You gotta have a case. I mean, you can buy them singles, but buying a whole set like this with a case makes it very handy. And the case was, they say it was free. So, like I was saying, I could use your help on Patreon. Check out my Patreon stuff if you want to support me somehow. You can support me through donation on Patreon. And my patrons get a whole bunch of free stuff, you know. I get some of my books are free to download. You can get some blacksmithing stuff. There's my latest paper castle you get for free. So there's benefits to being a patron other than just being a patron to help me out. I'm somewhere around 900 videos now and 10,000 web pages. Been going at it for a long time, and I want to build a castle. You can read more about that on my Patreon page, or go to stormthecastle.com/support.htm. Thank you. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always have lots of fun and interesting and very creative projects. I do 2 new ones every week. As an example, here's a couple more videos you might want to watch.